r/ask Reddit. What's something someone did that instantly made you lose your crush on them? My crush knew I was attracted to her, but she made fun of my little sister, different last name, in front of me and then looked to me in approval. Only I make fun of my little sister. Damn straight. There was this woman I thought I got along with really well. One day she gives me her number and asks me out that weekend. I call her later and she doesn't answer the phone or text but sees me a couple days later and says she doesn't check her phone much. I confirm we still have plans and she says yes. That day I show up to meet her. She doesn't show. I call and she doesn't answer. I see her the next day and she apologizes and makes plans again a few days later. I call again before we're supposed to meet up, but this time from my other phone, which was a number she didn't know. She answers. I say who it is and she hangs up on me. Bro, that's a whole new level of beach. Legendary beach. Beach squatch. Edit. Holy crap. Gold. Even I didn't think I was that funny. Edit the second. FK me. Platinum. The beach squatch works in mysterious ways. It really confused me. Like, if I asked her out and she said yes but didn't really want to go, that would be one thing. But she asked me out and then ghosted me. This is after her being really friendly to me for several weeks, dropping hints, and so on. I'm really confused by it. Dude said something like, I can't be just friends with girls. They all have crushes on me. Stopped crushing on him out of spite. This made me LOL. You're my hero. He wasn't that wrong then. Them. Hey, lem show you this song, I think you'll like me. Goes to pull out headphones them. Plays entirety of song on speaker at a loud volume while we are on a public bus. This is my own personal hell. My mother-in-law did this in a gym while we were waiting for my son's kindergarten music concert to start. I was so embarrassed. I walked out to the hall. I didn't want anyone thinking I was that ridiculously rude too. First text conversation was full of I'm so random humor. It went sorta like this. Her. Hey I. Me. Hey what's up? Her. I'm just eating juicy bread with my friend. Me. What is juicy bread? Her. Yeah, it's this type of bread you eat behind a dumpster in the apocalypse. Me. I see her, but you have to eat it before the cowboy rides up on his unicorn. I think I broke my teeth from clenching my jaw on that one. I remember being this person back from 6th 8th grade. Cringe. I tried to get in with this crowd in high school because they seemed so cool with their style, and it was similar to mine. Hot topic LOL. I'm naturally very serious so I never had the personality to be random. Now that I'm older and see all the cringe posts from people who could pull it off, I'm glad I couldn't. We finally went out on a date and I spent most of the time at the restaurant by myself while he stayed in the bathroom feeling like shit because unbeknownst to me at the time, he was having withdrawals from Oxy. I guess someone brought him some or something because he came back after a long time feeling great. He invited me back to his place and stupid me agreed. After a failure of a date, he attempted to make out with me and climbed on top of me. I was so not into it and started telling him no and push him off, but he fought me and kept angrily telling me, come on, I've been waiting for this. Eventually, I started shouting no even louder and he gave up and let me go. He was pissed and I grabbed my shit and left. Nice job sticking your ground. I'm sorry that happened. I'm glad you got out okay. He asked if my family had looked into essential oils and vitamins to cure my dad's stage IV cancer. A girl I knew at uni, and in fact lived with, and was very close to, ended up with metastatic cancer. She was always an intelligent and rational girl, though a little kooky. She was intelligent enough to know the difference between medicine and bullshit. But when she was told her condition was beyond medicine to cure, she started doing all of these things. She died late last year, barely 30 from it. We had lost touch and I didn't find out until a couple of weeks ago and am crushed with regret. I've come to believe, however, that there are circumstances where when all hope is gone for standard treatment, no matter how rational you are, there are things you would choose to believe in if you want to have any hope at all anymore. When you're in a position facing the impossible to conquer, normally death, you will choose to try to believe even the most bizarre and irrational thing if it can give you comfort and any form of hope. I hope she rests in peace, and if she is up there somewhere, she knows how sorry I am. I think you're right. It's innate in all of us to try to survive. When you've exhausted everything your doctor can try, what else are you going to do? Just go to everyone you know, your old workplaces. Tell them, hey, the chemo's not working. Just wanted to say thanks for everything. Remember me like this instead of, anyway, I've got to get going. Or you've got the check from your critical illness coverage. You've taken care of the top 3 things on your bucket list that your oncologist said to take care of right away. And you've got 15 grand in the bank. And you heard a story of a guy whose friend had a co-worker that had a bath full of lavender oil every day for a month and ate nothing but pickles and went into remission. And that's really only a couple grand in oil. And what else are you going to do with it? I mean, it's not like you can make things worse, right? Your doctors already gave up. The Mayo Clinic isn't returning your emails. I can't say I wouldn't at least strongly consider it. I mean, I'm a rational guy, but everybody panics when they start to drown. Whenever he talked to me, it was only about himself and how great he is. Better than any other boys. He's different from other boys. Was his name Gaston? No, only brags like Gaston. She spoke badly of someone because she saw them with crutches after spraining their ankle falling on a trampoline, claiming that they just wanted attention. Why do some people do this? I sprained my ankle in 8th grade and one girl from my class confronted me in the hall and started calling me a faker and claimed I was doing it for attention. I was so stunned. I was speechless. She was mean. Like really cruel to people. She went from really hot to not looking very good. One of my friends ended up dating her and I just could never see anything remotely attractive in her anytime I saw them. She became what my friends call ugly hot. So ugly inside it affected the way people perceived her physically. Edit. Shout out to you /Sheslaw Shaw for pointing out the opposite is also true. Inner beauty truly does shine through. Ah yes, the Twits principle. Inner beauty shines through. And the opposite is also true. Edit. https pinimg.com original Z8-54FE854EFD 3664B4 A630 85335 CDFB7E7A JPG. There are a number of people I know who people consider handsome, but they have such awful personalities that I just can't see them as good looking. He'd insult things I liked and tell me how much better his opinion was, constantly. I had this experience once as well. Every time I mentioned how I loved a song that came on the radio, he'd turn the volume down. Every time I mentioned I like anything, he'd insult it. I turned him down for sex. Guess who got the insults then? I used to do this. It took a while for me to realize it was rude as duck. It came from me spending a lot of time on my own, forming strong opinions with little to no input from peers. So when it came to experiencing people that disagreed with me, I was mind blown. I grew out of it. Thank duck. I have scars on my legs from an autoimmune disease. My crush saw them on the first hot day of the year. He had transferred in the fall, and he, literally, leapt 4 seats back from me in disgust. All feelings gone. Never spoke to him again. What a weird coincidence. I have a couple of scars because I'm not autoimmune. I got hit by a book. I wish I could upvote this more than once. I used to get chased around and kissed when caught in kindergarten. One day, my face got crushed into the asphalt and I had scabs all over my forehead. The next day, the girl pointed at my face and said, "Ewa, what's that on your face? I don't have a crush on you anymore." She was crazy. Girls were icky. I've never been happier to have a bloody face. A scab a day keeps the thoughts away. And you've been making you face bloody ever since. She liked to talk about herself. I am more of a listener, so it was fine. During one such self-praise session at our date, she was like, "I don't know why, but everyone just keeps ending up having a crush on me. Some even think they're in love." I thought to myself, can I listen to nonsense like this all my life? Voice inside my head said, "You don't even tolerate shit that's half as crazy from your family. Are you really asking the question?" Edit. Spelling. Voice inside my head said, "Do you have this guy's address so I can hire him?" Yeah, that guy seems much more reasonable than my guy. Can I get his number? One day we were at a party just sitting there with a large group of people. He points to another group nearby and makes fun of them. Why? Because they were in line to get some food. WTF is wrong with wanting to eat? You dweebs need basic sustenance to survive. I feed off the despair of others. Oh no, one of those desperians. Not to be confused with the other kind of desperian, which is someone who feeds off of Despacito and that's it. I was in year 3. He was in year 6. He said a bad word and 7-year-old me never forgave him. My crush disappeared instantly. For your information, the word was crap. That'll do it. Dodge a bullet there, honestly. Checked his social media and he had an album specifically meant for posting photos of hot bikini models, which was just weird. Then I started reading his bio and comments and other stuff, and the way he wrote online came off like a 12-year-old boy, and he used a lot of emoticons. Instantly killed it, and I didn't see him the same way after that. And he used a lot of emoticons. I feel the same, man, comma. She had been searching for a job for over 2 months while I helped support them. Then she turned down a job offer because she felt her interviewer was rude to her because she was late to the interview. The most surprising thing about this is the fact that they offered her a job after she was late to the interview. She said vaccines cause autism. At least you wouldn't have had to pay child support for too long if you knocked her up. Holy shit, my dude. She had her dog put down before leaving for college because she didn't believe anybody would take as good of care of him as she did. It was an English sheepdog. She didn't see the irony in what she did, of course. It was probably hard for her to understand me as I was pretty much screaming in her face. Internal fury of 1,000 stars. Jesus ducking Christ. That's the exact kind of woman that will drown her children in a bathtub. When they're a self-proclaimed a-hole and they have to prove how much of an a-hole they are. Duck in hell. This was my ex. Man, I'm not a nice guy. People have ducked me around and I'll duck them right back. Yet every time he drank he'd have a breakdown about how nobody respected him and treated him right. She was super serious about astrology, so did what every horoscope told her, and it was mind-numbing. My husband's ex-GF dumped him because her horoscope said it wasn't meant to be. I'm so thankful. 12 wonderful years and she messages him every once in a while in a sea of regret. Though it kinda sounds like she was looking for any excuse to dump him and latched onto astrology, unless she really was that deep into it. We went to college in a Bible Belt town. There was a student group called Christ Ambassadors whose members wore matching shirts on Wednesdays. They'd hand out mini Bibles and tell you you're going to hell. He was beautiful, but one Wednesday, he walked into class wearing a goddamn Christ Ambassador t-shirt and my heart broke. Neat story. A friend of mine ended up marrying him and he beat the shit out of her. So that also helped to quell the crush. She got out and is safe now, BTW. Boy, that escalated quickly. You're lucky you noped out of there as early as you did. Also, username checks out. When you treat animals or people like complete shit, it's over in my book. Yep, these are the first 2 things I thought of too. Started arguing in favor of FGM. I mean, wow, was that a fast crush kill? FGM. Female genital mutilation. Huge crushing on this one girl in my college English class. She was a bit religious but whatever, didn't talk about it too much. We talked all the time. Did a few projects together. Found out she wasn't dating this one guy anymore. Looked up her Facebook. Found her posts about using pig fat covered bullets to shoot Muslims in Iraq and posts about how school shootings are because we don't allow God in schools. Few more scrolls got to some homophobic stuff. Major turn off and disappointment. Sounds like you dodged a loud bullet there. What is wrong with people? She said she had a boyfriend. Crush lost instantly. I ain't ducking with their relationship. Let them be happy and cut your losses, fellas. At least she told you straight on. You're a really cool guy. I respect you for that thinking. My first girlfriend and I were together for a month or so, and she constantly told me not to speak with this one guy because he was trouble or something. Something to do with drugs. Well, one day I end up talking with him in the school cafeteria and turns out he was very excited for his anniversary with my girlfriend. A friend of mine left me with an analogy that has stuck with me to this day. When you fish, you're not setting out just one line. You set out multiple lines. Sometimes one might have a bite while others don't. Sometimes none of them have a bite. Sometimes some bite at the same time. And you have to prioritize. Moral of the story is that you have to be patient. When she liked me back. I can't go out with someone with bad life choices. Edit. Thanks for the silver lads. Do I really deserve it? Gold overnight? Thanks very much lads. This is way too real, especially when I'm depressed and someone told me they like me. I'm not sure how to react. Had a pretty solid crush on a co-worker at a grocery store. She even had a friend ask if I was single, so I asked her out for dinner. She said yes and I was stoked. Then she wasn't at work for a week. Whatever. Figured it was a vacation or something. Turns out she got suspended for calling a co-worker a dirty Mexican. That made me lose interest pretty fast. Hey, so there's this guy I like and I need your help. I was the new kid. She showed obvious initial interest. There was hand holding. There was a date. But evidently I turned out not to be up to her high standards in terms of social class. So I started getting the cold shoulder. She was upset about rumors we were boyfriend-girlfriend. When I called her to find out what was going on, she told me she hadn't felt the need to discuss anything because she assumed I could read her mind. The years passed and then there was Facebook. Suffice it to say, I'm glad things didn't work out between us. Edit. Sorry for being cryptic. We have different standards and want different things out of life. One example as kids, she didn't want them and I did. She seems happy. I'm happy. We wouldn't have been happy together. None of this matters. Like the post says, this is a case of instantly losing my crush on her. I've had no feelings for her since I learned more about her personality and priorities. TLDR. She was overly concerned with social status. The years passed and then there was Facebook. Suffice it to say, I'm glad things didn't work out between us. Please elaborate. She's a beach. He texted me at all hours of the day about his crippling anxiety and other girls. He hardly let me get a word in. Edit. I'm not at all opposed to talking to friends about mental health or asking for help. I'm actually really interested in pursuing a psychology degree. It just got to a point where I couldn't help anymore. I became too worried about him and had to take a step back. Complete beach to wait staff and wanted to no tip them. I met a girl and crushed hard on her and eventually we became friends and hung out. One day she said that children with autism were God's punishment for immoral parents. I told her I had Asperger's syndrome. Walked away and never spoke to her again. Say she wanted to have anal sex. I was totally down until she said she wanted to poop while doing it and have it squeeze around my coke. Nope, the duck out. I hope she found someone that got excited. Imagine the creative shit they'd do together. I was out with my crush and ran into an old friend from high school who was openly gay and wore pretty feminine clothing. I don't remember what exactly led to this, but crush said, I take it your friend is gay. I don't like that. Didn't talk to him again after that day. Editing to add, yes, I did try to educate him. I did say words to the effect of, well, he's living his authentic life and not hurting anyone and I think that's beautiful, YTF do you care? He didn't like that I said that, so I quit talking to him after that. I didn't instantly lose it, and I still like her, but we aren't speaking anymore. But I did instantly know that things were going to be sad from then on. She casually said she drank a beer on the drive up to my house when she visited. I knew right then and there she was an alcoholic. I kept talking over the next couple weeks to her, but layer by layer the alcoholism was revealed more and more, and she went from this pure good-natured, kind, honest, beautiful and intelligent girl that I wanted to learn everything about to a completely different person. Someone who wasn't afraid to yell at me and cause a scene in public over nonsense. Someone who wasn't afraid to physically push me away when I was trying to comfort her. Someone who got drunk and drove with no shame. Someone who, when I explained to her I had the same problem not too long ago and I've seen this before, understood but largely ignored. She was funny in a way that made me feel like we had been friends for our entire lives. She was adoring like a puppy and she was so well spoken I was nervous talking to her, but only when she was sober, and I miss her terribly. After consulting some of the alcoholism boards on here, I found that apparently there's nothing I can do but get out of the way of this train wreck and distance myself. Hopefully she balances out and doesn't hit rock bottom too hard. I know it can be a process, but Jesus Christ, is this hard. Talking crap about using coupons. This guy was very cute and quite the charmer, until he started talking about how only poor people use coupons and obviously you shouldn't be spending money on going out to eat if you have to use a coupon. Beach, I could be Bill Gates and I am study I learned going to go for the buy one get one free special. A guy I was crushing on asked me out for dinner. I agreed to pick him up. We headed to the restaurant. Everything was good until the meal arrived. He asked for no gravy, but there was gravy on the plate. He calmly called the server over. She replied that she'd be right over. He proceeded to stand up and yell that she better get her dumb, lazy ass over here right now. He began a very loud tirade about her lack of intelligence, her inability to do a simple job, etc, etc, peppered quite liberally with F-bombs, bitches, and the ultimate no-no in my opinion, CNT. I stood up and told him to shut his uneducated, insensitive mouth. I apologized to the server for her exposure to this childish excuse for a man and his toddler-like tantrum. I handed her $50, told him to find his own way home, and promptly turned and left. This is one of my biggest pet peeves. Jackasses who are rude to people who are in industries that society thinks are lower class. Anything in retail, server, janitors, basically the people that put up with all our shit, literally and metaphorically. Told me I was the cute one in my friend group. His friend apparently agreed, and they snickered about my very sweet friends who were standing in line. Never had my opinion of someone drop so low so fast. Those girls were awesome. That guy and his friend were garbage. And I told them exactly that. Went to the movie without him. Told my friends he had to be somewhere else, which was true. He had to be away from us. Duck that noise. He brought his girlfriend to my birthday party. I had no idea she existed until they showed up at the party and she was introduced as my girlfriend. He edits for those in comments who don't get it. I used E instead of her name because she is innocent and doesn't deserve to be blasted on Reddit. The party was at a restaurant, not my house as some assumed. We had a reservation for a certain number of people. Bringing an uninvited and not RSVP'd guest caused a lot of extra trouble for the staff and increased expense in getting her some food. There are other instances that also led to him now being rat bastard. Again, don't assume that because it's not mentioned that it doesn't exist. This is Reddit, not my personal autobiography. I mentioned I was excited to see Corpse Bride since back then I was a huge fan of Tim Burton and stop motion animation. He went on a rant on how the movie was absolutely disgusting, promoted necrophilia, and if he actually gets together with that thing I'll have lost all faith in humanity. Like okay, zombie chicks squick you out and you don't want to watch it, that's fine. No reason to act like people who like the movie are going to grave rob and duck corpses. Open bracket. Yep, I realize Corpse Bride is probably an odd movie to get defensive of and I'll be the first to admit it's not something most audiences would find amazing. It was more the implication that I wanted to bang a corpse because I found the premise enjoyable that made me nope out of that crush. Texting me for the sole purpose of complaining about their life, while taking zero action to improve it and ignoring any and all advice. Edit. Just wanted to clarify a bit. I'm talking about people who chronically complain, not someone who's complaining once or twice, or is just venting during a rough time. Hope I didn't offend anyone. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.